Good afternoon, everyone. My
Yeah,
name is Karim.
okay, it's fine.
I'm an assistant professor in nutrition and food sciences with over 4 years of experience as an assistant professor, 8 years of experience as an epidemiological researcher, and 3 years of experience as a dietitian in clinical settings. Today, I'm going to present our recently published paper, A Structural Equation Modeling Approach to examine the mediating effect of stress on diet in culturally diverse women of childbearing age. This paper has been published in Nutrients. Obesity among childbearing aged women has risen rapidly. The rates are going up. Trends are showing that the prevalence of obesity is going up. And it has been associated with many diseases such as gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, miscarriage, and a variety of cardiovascular diseases that place both the mother and the baby at danger. So it is vital to understand the determinants of diet and their impact of women to actually give and provide a strong evidence base from which we can start supporting international interventions aiming at improving the diet quality of both the mother and the public health because mothers and newborns are affected by the dietary choices of the mother. So research has shown that young females who report higher levels of stress, psychological stress, are more likely to consume unhealthy food such as high fatty food and to consume less healthy food such as vegetables and fruits than non-stressed females. However, the approaches taken by studies that looked at stress and diet have been limited because most of them are assessing food groups rather than the whole diet pattern. Also, studies in the literature have been recommending that there is a need to explore how these lifestyle factors interact with stress and their potential effect on diet. So, a conceptual model bringing together the various factors that affect diet could enable us to better understand this complex issue. Structural equation modeling is a leading method for assessing conceptual models in epidemiological research by quantifying the interactions among a network of variables. Structural equation modeling has the feature of assessing all associated routes at the same time, taking into consideration the function of the independent and dependent components in the outcome formation. Studies with rigorous methodologies and designs from different countries, which provides cultural and socio-demographical diversity, are needed to address this association between stress and diet in women of childbearing age appropriately. Most of the evidence in the literature come from single country studies, and this can be a little bit challenging when comparing studies together because they use different methodologies. The participants are different, they have different cultures, traditions, and dietary habits. Also, they have different stress levels. Moreover, there are differences in the methodologies, variable assessed, and the tools used to collect data in different studies. So it makes the comparison a little bit difficult. Robust research, including diverse populations from different countries and continents, is needed to enhance the understanding of the relationship between stress and diet among women of childbearing age, and to also investigate the role of different factors in this relationship. To our knowledge, no previous study has evaluated direct and indirect associations between stress and diet among women of childbearing age from multiple countries in different regions of the world. This paper has reported the use of structural equation modeling to investigate the association between perceived stress and diet quality and patterns in a culturally diverse population of women of childbearing age from Lebanon in the Middle East and UK in Europe to enable the exploration of the role of confounding and explanatory factors such as country context, physical variables, and socioeconomic status. So in the methodology of this paper, we used an online survey to collect data from both United Kingdom and Lebanon, and informed consent was obtained in the landing page of the survey, and we seek ethical approval from the Lebanese American University in Lebanon and from Bournemouth University in the UK. So in total, we had 493 women of childbearing age, 244 in UK and 249 in Lebanon. To participate in the study, participant had to meet the following inclusion criteria. So we included only women who do not have any chronic diseases, such as cancers, cardiovascular diseases, or mental disorders, women who do not suffer from food intolerance or allergy, pregnant or breastfeeding, who are not on medications that affect appetite, or who had not previously had a bariatric surgery. So the variables that we assessed in our survey included dietary intake using the EPIC food frequency questionnaire, perceived stress through the perceived stress scale, adiposity through self-reported questions on weight, height, and waist circumference, physical activity through the International Physical Activity Questionnaire, and socio-demographic data such as income, age, marital status, and ethnicity, also through self-reported data. And all the tools and scales that are used have been validated previously in Lebanon and in the UK. And here we come to a very important part of our paper, which is building the structural equation modeling model. This is a general hypothesized model showing stress as a mediating variable, linking socio-economic factors and body mass index, adiposity measures, and physical activity level to the dietary patterns, which we assessed in two ways. One is the adherence to Mediterranean diet, and two is by doing factor analysis to reveal the latent dietary patterns. And as you can see in the picture, we revealed 4 patterns among our population or our sample. So in the statistical analysis part of the paper, we used SPSS and AMOS to do the statistics and to conduct the structural equation modeling. The a priori and the a posteriori diet quality analyses were included in the last stage of the analysis in the hypothetical model that I just mentioned in the previous slide. So after that, the data was prepared for performing structural equation modeling, which has 5 key steps. The first step is identifying the research problem. Second is identifying the model. Third is estimating the model. Fourth is determining the model's goodness of fit. And 5 is respecifying the model if needed. So if the model goodness is not good or is not fit, as they say, we need to respecify it. Next, the structural equation model was estimated and tested to assess its model fit, estimating the path coefficients and estimating the squared multiple correlations. To assess the most suitable fitting model for the study's data, the following fit indices were computed. The comparative fit index was more than 0.9. Chi-square test over degrees of freedom ratio was less than 5. Standardized root mean square residual less than 0.08. Parsimony normed fit index more than 0.5. Root mean squared error of approximation is less than or equal to 0.08. Parsimony comparative fit index more than 0.5, goodness of fit more than 0.9, and adjusted goodness of fit index is more than 0.8. The model respecification was done to enhance the goodness of fit in the 5th step of the analysis, and bootstrapping was applied to test the significance of indirect effects, which we will now see in the results section. In the results, overall participants from UK had higher average age, BMI, and physical activity level compared to participants from Lebanon. The stress level represented by average stress score was found to be higher among participants from Lebanon compared to those from UK, Most participants from the two countries were non-smokers, unmarried, and had income below average. However, 73% of participants from UK were white, while 100% of participants from Lebanon were from the Arab ethnicity. The adherence to Mediterranean diet of the total sample appeared to be moderate, where 58% of participants had a medium adherence, 29 had a low adherence, and 13 only had high adherence. Factor analysis revealed 4 dietary patterns. The first dietary pattern had a high factor loading for alcohol, cereals, fats and oils, and sugar and snacks. Dietary pattern 2 included vegetables, legumes, soups, and sauces, and dietary pattern 3 had highest factor loadings for eggs, fish, and seafood, meats, and potato, whereas the last dietary pattern 4, had highest factor loadings for fruits and nuts and seeds, milk and dairy products, and non-alcoholic beverages. Now, the results of structural equation modeling are demonstrated in this table, which shows the statistically significant pathways, the direct and indirect, of the association between socio-demographic variables, physical activity, and BMI with dietary patterns and quality among women of childbearing age. So in the table, it reveals that stress was directly and negatively associated with adherence to Mediterranean diet, but not with any of the other latent a posteriorly dietary patterns. The country in which participants lived was directly associated with their stress level, adherence to Mediterranean diet, and the dietary pattern 2, 3, and 4. So we can say that being from Lebanon was associated with having higher stress levels, higher adherence to Mediterranean diet, and significantly greater intakes of food groups such as vegetables, legumes, soups, and sauces, but lower intake of eggs, fish, meats, potato, fruits, nuts and seeds, dairy products, and non-alcoholic beverages. Table 2 also shows that having higher income was associated with higher intake of vegetables, legumes, soups, and sauces, and but an overall lower adherence to Mediterranean diet. Table 2 also shows income was found to be positively associated with dietary pattern 2, but negatively with the adherence to Mediterranean diet. Marital status was positively associated only with dietary pattern 3, and age was positively associated with the adherence to Mediterranean diet and dietary pattern 4. In other words, participants who were unmarried had a significantly greater consumption of eggs, fish, meats, and potatoes, and those who were older in age had significantly higher adherence to Mediterranean diet and higher intake of fruits, nuts and seeds, dairy products, and non-alcoholic beverages compared to participants who were younger at age. The table also shows that ethnicity was negatively associated with adherence to Mediterranean diet and dietary pattern 4, but positively with dietary pattern 3. In other words, participants who were Arabs had a lower intake of fruits, nuts and seeds, dairy products, and non-alcoholic beverages, and lower adherence to Mediterranean diet, but a higher intake of eggs, fish, seafood, meats, and potato compared to other ethnic groups. The table also shows that BMI was found to be directly and positively associated with dietary pattern 3 and dietary pattern 4, where participants with greater BMI tended to consume more eggs, fish, potato, fruits, meat, nuts and seeds, dairy products, and non-alcoholic beverages. Now, the table also shows the indirect effects, which is revealed by the structural equation modeling, and it indicates that among all exogenous variables, only country was found to be indirectly associated with dietary quality and patterns through the mediating effect of stress. The country of participants was found to have an indirect effect on Mediterranean diet, dietary pattern 1, dietary pattern 3, and dietary pattern 4 via the mediatory effect of stress. The greater stress level associated with the country context in the present study played an important role in contributing to dietary quality and patterns. Stress has been found to negatively impact the adherence to Mediterranean diet, in addition to dietary patterns that consist of fruits, nuts and seeds, dairy products, and non-alcoholic beverages. Moreover, stress was found to contribute to a higher consumption of dietary patterns that included fats and oils, sugars and snacks, cereals and alcohol, in addition to eggs, meat, potatoes when participants were from Lebanon compared to the UK. This figure is one of the important results of structural equation modeling, which also speaks about the results that we just mentioned in the slides and the table that we were discussing in the previous 5 slides. This figure is called the simplified path analysis, which is a result of structural equation modeling, as I said, and it highlights the association between socio-economic factors, physical activity, adiposity, and their effect on dietary patterns through the mediating effect of stress. Red arrows are effects with p-values less than 0.5. So as you can see, for example, income has been found to directly affect the MD score and also the dietary pattern too. Country affects stress, so country affects stress and also affects, for example, the MD score, dietary pattern 2, and dietary pattern 4. So this is, again, we're describing the results that we just talked about in the previous few slides. This is only a figure that demonstrates what we just discussed. In the discussion of our paper, we mentioned that contrary to the popular thinking and expectation that countries in the Mediterranean area have healthier diets compared to the Western countries, the findings of our paper highlight a poorer diet quality and patterns in Lebanon due to the high levels of stress. While many factors were found to have a direct effect on diet quality, only country was found to be indirectly associated with diet quality and patterns through the mediating effects of stress. Participants from Lebanon were found to have higher stress levels compared to participants from the UK, and this contributed to a lower adherence to Mediterranean diet. The findings of our paper can be explained through the following points. The high rate of stress can be explained by the fact that Lebanon, a low to middle income country that hosts around 2 million refugees, has passed through various stressful events during the past decade. These include, but are not limited to, the COVID-19 pandemic, the explosion of the port of Beirut in August 2020, which was the world's biggest non-nuclear explosion of the 21st century. Also, Lebanon has been experiencing an economic crisis and collapse since 2019. And due to this crisis and collapse, Lebanon was not able to import medicines and medical equipment, and many people have lost their jobs. So these events have also elevated the stress level among the Lebanese population. Additionally, a survey collected in 2022 indicated that among 903 adults in Lebanon, 83% reported feeling sad and stressed at almost all times of the day, and 11% reported having suicidal ideation. Moreover, a recent study has found that Lebanese people had decreased fruits, vegetables intake, and water health, and increased intakes of fats, sugars, which led to increased obesity and the dietary pattern that we saw in this paper. Now we come to the conclusion of our paper, which we summarize that the findings suggest that dietary quality and patterns of women of childbearing age are affected by the country context, and this is explained by the stress level of the country, population. However, further research is needed to explore the impact of dietary recommendation and their cultural adaptation to diverse population. At a clinical level, these findings will inform the implementation of intervention, such as stress coping strategies, intended to lower stress levels and hence improving the diet of the population. Identifying whether tailoring interventions on the basis of lower stress levels leads to improved diet quality and patterns remain to be examined in well-designed randomized controlled trials. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to participate in the third Global Summit on Artificial Intelligence. And I come here to the end of my presentation, and here are the references. Thank you very much.